Good morning and happy President's Day. Here's what I wanted to do. I'm taking the day off from putting a podcast out, but I haven't taken a week off yet in 2018, 19. Time to get with the program, Brickey. But I thought it would be cool to look at design all related around the imagery of George Washington, our first ever president. In my mind's eye, I felt like I had seen lots and lots of George Washington icon design in my lifetime. Well, the thing is when you go and Google and look at the hard facts, sometimes you can't find what you think exists. So then I pivoted over to what is the true meaning of President's Day, and it is celebrating America, I guess. So today, what do you say we look at the design of people that have rebranded America in a way that makes it applicable to smart folks? And when I say smart folks, I'm talking you won't see drop shadows, you won't see airbrushing, you won't see eagles crying, you won't see untamed retribution. Untamed retribution. That was a firework that we bought once, confiscated by the Erie County Police Department. We bought the untamed retribution. We never got to see it go off. So what do you say we jump in? The first thing we're going to look at are those three sweet letters, USA. Let's look at folks who have taken the initials of America to design it in a way that makes sense to smart people. Nate Bear writes in on one crying eagle. I don't know that you're going to find one. Okay, Scott Fuller created this USA shield crest. I enjoy it. The hard angles work well to get it in that narrow space, but he also played with the curvatures. The USA. This is where you're going to get into a difficult space if you have a art director that doesn't have a big imagination, or they start passing it around the office. I don't know, man. My brother told me that the U looks like a J. My friend told me, my wife's yoga instructor told me, we showed it to her, and the U looks like a V. It says USA. You know it because it's put together. You know it because Scott picked the colors. Added bonus to today's design review, I don't know any of these people. A lot of times it's been complained about on the poster countdown that it's our friends over and over again. I simply Googled, wormed through Pinterest, wormed through Dribble, and if I saw work of somebody that I recognized, I didn't put it in. So today's all new design buds on the show. I like this. I think that it works well. You can see that it's scaling. The USA has to be able to scale. I thought this was good. Congratulations, Scott. It's nice to know you. This USA from Artist Unknown, couldn't always figure out who made these, which is kind of cool. I love the patina in this. I love the stamp. Interesting that the designer decided to put the S at a slight angle. I'm going to take points off from that. I wish it was a little bit more vertical to play with the symmetry we have here, but who knows? Maybe it was done that way and it didn't fit well. I don't know what the design hat is, Anthony Stone. You'll have to be more specific. I'm broadcasting. But I like this shape that it fits in. I like the rounded edges, that it didn't go with sharp corners. And like I said, that patina makes it look nice. It makes it look like it'd be a stamp. And I guess when you think about the branding or the design of the USA, it's a utility thing, right? Like this would be something that would be on letters and legal documents and put in the side of military equipment or put on checks where the government has to pay people. Like what is the actual design usage of the USA by its ownership other than us making merchandise to sell to each other? I like this one. This one's cool. This is kind of gets into that thing that we all had to do back in art school. Make a logo out of your initials and use negative and positive space. So it's kind of like a 101 gimmick if you ever went to school or if you ever professionally trained for design. So for a lot of us, it's kind of hard to get into these type of things. But I think that this one works. And you're not too bothered by the little leftover pieces of the S that are on the U and the A. It works. It comes together. You could see it being an easy one color design, once again, to be used in a utility way. You could see this on a postal truck. You could see this, on the wing of a plane. Like it would definitely scale and always get the point across. This is a sticker from an unknown artist. I actually took out the die cut around it that showed the sticker because it was distracting. But I love the idea that they embraced this shape, used it the same for the U and the A, and then took it and stacked it on itself for the S there in the middle. It has a good flow to it. It feels kind of like something you could see NASA using. And I thought that this was a very unique take on something that we all know. It says USA without saying USA. If you're going to talk about rebranding America for smart people, this definitely fits that category, checks that box. And then this one by Sergey Yark, not only is it good typography, not only does it look fun, not only is it a nice one-color design that would work at different scales, but let's say that you had to put this on, I don't know, a missile or a bomb, something that falls and spins in the air, it'll always say USA because it's the exact same north and south. So I thought that that was clever and something I didn't even really pick up on the first second I saw it, but I thought it was a nice brand. I like the typography. Way to go, Sergey Yark, for thinking outside the box and doing something that I'm not bright enough to do. Our next category, we've already looked at the USA letters, but the next icon that America has is its beautiful flag. I would say one of the better designed flags. If you ever go and look at flags around the world or flags for states or different pieces of sovereign land, the USA flag is pretty good, although a little tech with all of its pieces. This is from Artist Unknown, basically taking the flag, breaking it down in a more basic way, not having to get every exact line in there, but it says the flag and then working the USA into the actual red and white for the 13 colonies. I thought that this was smart, a cool way to put it in there. Once again, it would work well. We do have to go to 2 colors on this, but this would have a lot of good usage and would scale pretty elegantly. Alan Peters makes this USA into a flag. This is pretty cool how the U and the A pretty much take up about the same amount of space, letting that awkward S do all the heavy lifting. I love the bend in them. Jordan Keefe, what a comment. I'll let that one sit by itself because this is recorded live and I can't edit myself. I love that he put the bend and the sway in the flag. It comes together quite well. And this is just something I'm like, it's interesting that I've never seen this before because it seems so kind of obvious. And that's good design when you kind of knock it out of the park on something that already feels familiar and you have to run over to Google and be like, did anybody else design this yet? Am I the innovator? Did I just invent gold, or did this exist elsewhere? Also, great call, Alan, on closing up the inside of the A. Sometimes those spaces can just mess with our eyes, but leaving it open on the U, which makes it not so much of an American flag. And then this USA made, interesting design decision here, that if you just line up USA and the MAD, not only will you not get sort of a smaller navy blue portion for the 50 states, the 50 stars, but you would have USA MAD. And I don't think that that's what he was wanting. Getting back to earlier where we're talking about, I showed it to my friend and the U looks like a J. The USA MAD would work in some instances, but probably not what they want to do. So stretching the D over, making the made, filling in the E to put more bars on the flag. I thought this was really cool. Once again, I also like the bend in there. So I thought Evan did a fantastic job. Moving on. We've looked at USA. We've looked at the flag. What's that other image? And I even use it on my own logo. That's right. Let's look at the design of the eagle. I thought Jay Fletcher knocked it out of the park. This is one of the pieces in today's deck that is best in show. I absolutely love this. I like where the positive and negative pieces line up or don't align up to give that brow of the eagle. I love that he oversimplified the eye as that half circle. The vertical lines that would show where the eagle's neck or breast would start is fantastic. Putting the star in there adds that little bit of patriotism in a sly way. I thought this was really, really good. It also looks familiar. It looks like something that would have been done in the 60s or 70s in that era of bold design. I thought that this was really great and a very interesting take on the eagle. I agree with you, Steve. That star inside there really just sort of lets you know that you're looking at something that is America. And I think that that's a bit of it is the suggestion, right? This isn't knocking you over the head. This isn't, a tear coming down the eagle's face with the reflection of the Twin Towers in it. It kind of says everything without having to say anything. I thought that this eagle design was pretty good, and I came across a lot of silhouette eagles. I thought that this one was nice, And I don't know if the artist unknown was looking to make something branded around America. You might think that with the navy blue and the red in there, but it almost felt maybe a little bit too European for me. But I did like the way that the right wing sort of scoops around the body. That line that sort of connects from the top of the right wing around to the left hand side of the eagle's body, and I did like that the red sort of supporting feathers gave a little bit of a note to the American flag. You can definitely tell that it's supposed to be an eagle with the way that the beak is sort of sculpted down. The straight flat head is kind of cool. It looked great. It almost just felt maybe a little bit too European, maybe a little bit like a sophisticated Polish flag. But I think that the Polish eagle maybe has two heads, just doing that off the top of my memory. But I thought that this was good. It had a nice flow, a nice elegance to it. You could for sure see this on the wing of an airplane, which is where eagles get used a lot because, eagles and flying make it easy for people to follow along, right? This might be a hawk, but even if it is a hawk and an eagle, I would assume are cousins. So I thought that this was a really strong way to build the head of a bird of prey without giving too many details and just enough. This could easily be stenciled. It would look great on a business card. It would look good on the side of a giant truck. This would definitely scale at all sizes, and it's just the perfect amount of detail. There's nothing gratuitous in there. There's nothing that doesn't need to be in there. Like, this is a true work of art on minimalism, on how everything just fits where it needs to. This one isn't exactly the best, but I did like sort of its nod to vintage American branding. You can tell that it's modern because the artist reluctantly put drop shadows to make the wings sort of look further apart. I would say that could come out. There doesn't need to be a drop shadow around the top of that seal where it says American made. And it also looks fonty. You run this thing through the magic machine, you stamp it, you roughen up the edges on it a little bit, you make it look like it's been printed out 1,000 times, take out the color, take out the shadows. This could for sure be something that you would see on military grade items. But with all of the modernism touches to it, the things that are tempting to put in when you're hanging out in Illustrator or Photoshop, it loses a little bit of its tradition, but it is a sturdy design. Therefore, I felt it was worthy to go on. I love the star inside of the American made. The arch is perfect. You got that to line up nice. And then putting made at a flat horizontal angle, really, I thought, put that together. So it's not perfect, but it's close. It's on its way, and I enjoyed it. Thank you, unknown artist, unknown design soldier. May we never forget you in this field of unknown design crosses. And then this one's unknown again. This one gets maybe borderline a little bit complicated, but it also has a nice level of execution and elegance to it. I really enjoy the fact that the feathers, the tail feathers of the eagle come together nicely in this pattern of the three wings flipped over. The eagle's head is in there. It's not too sophisticated. It's just enough to let you know what it is. This one looks really great. I don't know the artist. I do believe that this is part of a larger branding campaign, maybe for something that looked like purified water or a drinking water of sorts. And speaking of which, I think I'll have a drink of my G Fuel, which is really water. I don't drink G Fuel, but it seems to be a YouTube thing. I like this. I thought it was done really, really well. It would scale and work pretty good at most sizes. Some of those diamonds in the bottom of the tail feather could easily close up on you, or the positive space or negative space on the wings. Glass half full, half empty, that's up to you. But I thought that this was good, and out of a ton of eagles that I looked at, this one had a really nice symmetry. It felt geometric and sturdy. Now that we have looked at the USA, the flag, and the eagle, let's look at one of America's favorite catchphrases, the made in the USA. It is something that we love, and it also is something that needs to scale properly, because to say made in USA, typically, unless you're buying a t-shirt or a hat that says that, it is a stamp on a much larger item. So it is this thing that you're buying was made in the USA. So one would think that these need to be small, where you can easily tuck them in to a bigger design composition. Alex Roca, one of my best in shows. I think that these 4 pieces are perfect. I love the patina. I love the stamping that he put in there. The texturing looks a little modern, but I get what he was going for. But I love that on the USA flag. It literally looks like it's been printed 1,000 times. Ink soaked into cardboard. This is the type of vintage design I love. The Manufacturing Co., it's closed up enough to look old, but not so much that it looks blocky. These look really, really good. The Made in the USA Eagle, that's a nice shaped eagle, very similar to the one that we just looked at a while back. But this one, because it's kept to one color, and the way that he puts that sort of piping in the eagle's wings and blocks out the chest for a slogan and keeps the type strong but yet stamped, I thought it was really good. The Made in the United States of America, I like the breaking up of the stars and the bars to put the flag in there. And the Made in the USA, it's very similar to the first one we looked at. Who knows? This might be something that exists. But I ran a lot of these through Google image search to see what else that they brought up. I thought that Alex did a really great job on this, putting your art on cream, using a softer version of black will always make it look so much better and not the abrasive design with crisp edges that we always see on the internet. I agree, Pierre. This is a really strong presentation that Alex put together. Definitely one of the best in shows today. I thought Mike Brunner did a fantastic job with this Made in the USA. Using the USA as the bottom of the eagle was great. Suggesting the wings were on there. Using a top of a shield or an eagle's head to make the top of that crest, fantastic. The way his Made in the has a lower arc but is straight across the top, pro move. I wish the type looked a little bit more stamped, a little bit weathered. The way that this texture is put in here is you make a mask of your line art and then you drop things in. But the problem with that is the outer silhouette looks crystal clear and the interior is distressed. In order for the interior to be distressed, so would the outer contour lines. Alex knows what he's doing. He's got the roughness and the bleediness everywhere, whereas Mike just dropped some stuff into it. Not shitting on his work, just talking about why it doesn't feel quite as authentic as the one before. But what he did excellent here is that USA monogram. Putting that in there, working the S around the A, and making it look American and not like Nazi propaganda. Not an easy thing to do. It can kind of slide that way very quickly out of your control. But I thought that this looked really, really strong, sturdy. The 2 bars on the eagle's wings is nice. I think most people would be inclined to maybe go a little bit further, but Mike did just enough to keep it where it needs to. And this is in the almost in best in show. I'm taking a couple points off because of the way that the texture was applied, but such a strong design. And I believe that Mike, the parent image that this came from, because I had to sort of adjust the levels to get the distress out of there because it was messing up the background. It also looks fantastic reversed where it's white on black. But so good. Riley Cran, I thought this was a great crest, so great that I even used it despite it having a horrible textured background, which you can see how good I did a professional content aware. That's right, I'm aware of all the content around me and I can mimic anything. It's as if you just found this on a big block of concrete that has no weird edges or seams to it. Professional designer? Yes, now you see why I retired and went full-time podcasting. Riley's crest is great though. I love the Made in the USA, how everything fits in its place. It's a little bit complicated, but that's okay. It has the warmth that I like. I enjoy the sticker or the sort of the starburst around the USA, using the map of it. The colors are nice. It's got some good stuff in here. I'm not sure why the inside of Made is solid, like the same as the bow tie that says in the. Also, I don't know that the 3 stars around USA need to be dark. One needs to be that cream, but I do love that cream color. I would always go for that over a bright, stiff white. I think maybe leaving the stars at the bottom white and leaving the star at the top dark would be a nice sort of pattern that you have going there. It's a little too complicated, but it is a nice design. It feels like something that would look good on record packaging. But I think that take this, work it down to 2 colors, work it down to 1 color, give it the proper distress gimmick, make it really look stamped and reprinted, and this thing could be, I think, solid as a rock, the rock of our nation. This one's unknown. The eagle is kind of, whatever. It's not the most imaginative eagle. It's an eagle, but it certainly is a nice one. But I thought that the USA at the bottom was a pretty interesting way to once again create that shield, almost that highway shield or sign that we've seen 1,000 times over. The maiden was kind of interesting that it has sort of that Art Deco avant-garde type vibe in there. I thought that this one was different and sort of had an old school vibe to it. It might authentically be old school. I don't know. It pops up a lot on the internet, but I could not find the author of the work. But I thought it was a cool way to sort of tie in the Made in the USA, get the eagle in there, get the shield in there, work in 2 colors, and make it look kind of cool. All right. Our last category today, and thank you so much for hanging out with me. If you like this, please like, share with a friend. If you enjoy this type of design review, let me know. Maybe suggest a topic in the comments below. Comments help grow the channel, and I would appreciate that. So let's make this a team effort, guys. Guys, come huddle in. Just like our founding fathers. I can't do this on my own. I need your help. I need your support for my sad YouTube channel that I'm trying so hard on. So pathetic. This is deconstruction. These are people that have taken the things that we know that makes America great, but not again. And they've sort of created, that's a term. They have made their own imagery, their own branding using bits and parts of what we know about USA imagery. So it's sort of a take on America, but with their own stamp on it. And I always like that. This American West is really great. Josh Warren knocked it out of the park with sort of using the flag and the bottom of that crest, using the nice solid thickness is perfect all the way around it and in those bars, dividing that to put the American West logo in there. The American West logo is fancy, but not too striking that it takes control of things. I thought that this was really, really good. It feels America, but it feels unique. I have no problems with this being a tag or a logo on a shirt that I buy. It would make a fantastic patch. And let's say American West is a t-shirt company. Nothing wrong with having this print over on the bicep of the shirt with whatever imagery they're really selling you on the chest. So I thought that this was really good. And as Carl says in the comments for live, it does patch well. All right, Allied Maker. I thought that this was a really cool way just to break down, simplify the flag. It says American flag without having to say it. 1 color would go the test of time, would not ever outdate, would stay, relatively hip or consistent at all times. And I like the way that this could possibly scale. It would look good everywhere. It could make for a great sign out front of your business. So I thought that Allied Maker here was a good one. Patrick D. Nobrega deconstructed it, made his own thing. Feels a little Derek Castle. Not say that I ripped it off. Just reminds me of my bud because that's sort of his USA color palette. What a difference you get on sophistication when you swap out the bright white with a nice cream color. But I like these wings. They look old. They look photoshopped. They look found. I like that his stars are imperfect. I wish that the USA had the same imperfection of the design elements around it. But I thought that this was really cool. I could see this being a successful t-shirt. Wouldn't work so well as a logo, but as far as merchandise, I thought it was a good destruction of all things that we know USA. Stars and Stripes USA Forever by Joshua Minich. This goes to show that you can use a different color palette. You can use sort of the verbiage of your subject matter. And this is almost like, we see people in pop culture, they try to do inspired by. It doesn't say Ghostbusters, but it says Ghostbusters, so somebody will buy it. This seems inspired by America. The Don't Tread on Me snake in there, the arrow that's going through it. Everything's nice and stamped. I like the Stars and Stripes type. The USA sort of stacked in that bottom little pocket opposite of the tail. Pro move. and the forever in there. Really, really nice. I'm sure a lot of this is typography you could get off the shelf, but what a difference it makes when you stamp it, when you warm it, when you make it not perfect, when it feels like it's from an artist's sketch pad and not from a desktop space in Photoshop or Illustrator. So I liked it a lot. Yeah, it's not too far off from the Failure Tour logo that we used years ago when I went across America to decide, do I want to podcast for a living? What does that career look like? I've never seen it before. I know, I'll try it. This is unknown. This is a kind of a very interesting deconstruction. Points off with the drop shadow and feeling digital. But I like this idea of working a bare bones flag into this shield. It could be Texas, it could be Puerto Rico when you simplify it this much, but it still felt America because after all, it's wearing a gold crown that says USA. I thought it worked well. It's a little bulky, it's a little thick, it's got a lot of colors in it, but I thought that it came together and told a nice story. And then the last one for today, Jeff Stone, because after all, this is what we're doing, drawn in the USA. It's fantastic to see how many people have taken America, taken something that you have a very clear idea in your head of what is America, what feels patriotic, what feels like the branding of our country, and then to see people play with that DNA and see if they can hip it up, if they can make it cool, if they can make something that would last the test of time. I found this to be way more interesting than the George Washington stuff that I originally went out for. I hope you enjoyed today's President's Day inspired design review. Jeff Stone, I like this. I like the pencils in there for the flag. I like that you got that shield. I wish that, if you're going to rough it up and put that texture inside the shapes, I wish that the edges of the illustration also had that same sort of wear and tear. But at this point, I'm just repeating myself. Hope you enjoyed today's USA design review. Thank you so much for hanging out with me and watching my video. Please tell a friend. And hey, hit the like button if you enjoyed this. Actually, hit the like button if you also didn't enjoy this. And comment below if there's a subject matter that you would like for me to review on one of these design reviews. And maybe I will. All of the artwork used today was by designers and people that I don't know. This is an attempt to bring more people into the world of adventures in design instead of the same old from our camp of friends and people that just don't seem to want to leave. Shoo! Get off my lawn, kids! Get off my lawn! Get